Hello again. So we are looking at some of the examples of writing task one of IELTS academic. We have already seen that how to plan for the writing, where we try to understand the pictures or image. After that, we have written the introduction part and we have seen 7 examples. Now in coming video, we're going to see all the 7 examples again, but this time we are going how to write down the body paragraph, right? So let's just start. Firstly, because you have already paid attention to the pictures, you have already written the introduction, so you're quite familiar with the question. So those two stages are very important, especially the planning part, right? So things are in your mind. So how will you begin the first paragraph? Perhaps catch something or take something which uh, is eye-catching, which when you look at the pictures, it can immediately take your attention. If it is about comparison or if it is about trend. On the other hand, if it is line graph, perhaps you can begin from the beginning by comparing if there are more than one line graphs. If it is about process, then you like to begin with the first stage. If it is simply a diagram, you'll try to understand what exactly is demonstrated, and accordingly you will start that. All right. So and then perhaps you keep comparing if it is about comparison, if line graph going ahead with the trend, if it is stages, you will talk about the other stages. So and the second paragraph, you will start with some sort of hint that what exactly you're going to include in the second paragraph. So for example, regarding the consumption of junk food as far as population is concerned, or you're talking about after that something. If you're talking about the stage, if you're talking about development, then you can say the next development is about, so that way, right? So let's try to see with one example. I hope we will try to understand that. The first question, if you can recall, is a line graph. So let me show you. So again, let me remind you that eye catching, perhaps something that you can start with, that you can keep comparing, right? So you have already planned it, that you write how many paragraphs and everything, if you can recall. So let's try to see, and you can see the blue colors are the expressions which can give you mark for cohesion, CC part, which can give you marks for the lexical resource part, because each and every type of figure have certain specific vocabulary. Perhaps in this kind of questions, comparative vocabulary are used a lot. So you can see in the beginning the greatest problem, the most problematic, the youngest, much lower, and then we have connectors for CC like however, while. So keep paying attention to these details. These are very important. Although we have a dedicated videos in the end, once we finish these 7 passages, 7 writings, then we'll try to look into the details of that, right? So let's start with this one. The greatest problem for young people aged 18 to 34 is forming friendship, right? So he talked about one particular age group, it takes, and then the greatest problem. Let's talk about this. Now it will compare it. A problem experienced by 40% of the people in this age group, right? So figures are also important. That doesn't mean that you need to include each and every figure, but perhaps the highest, the lowest, or if other important figures are there need to be included, so as it is included. However, now comparison, you can see only 36% of 35 to 54-year olds so once this, and then comparing with this, while even fewer comparing with this, so same thing. And again, you can see the way these comparatives are used. Fewer people over dash 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 54% of the older age group finds learning to speak the local language the most problematic in comparison the youngest age group. So this way it is done. Now second paragraph should start with something, so in contrast that to the language learning difficulties, Perhaps now they'll talk about some other problems. Only 22% of people in the oldest age group have trouble finding accommodation. So the trend is a bit different, perhaps, in the old age group. If you talk about, these are the old age groups. So this is learning the local language. So in contrast to this, for them, finding accommodation is the lowest problem. So that in contrast can be justificable here. Only 22% of the people in the oldest age group have trouble finding accommodation. So you can see the linkers, you can see the specific vocabulary for the particular question. These are so much important, right? Nevertheless, this is, so once we have used however, then we change it to nevertheless. This is the second most significant problem for the other two age group, with 39 to 40% of the people age group finding it hard, right? So I hope you have understood, and you'll keep understanding, because we still have 6 more written exercise for the body paragraph that we are going to look into. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. See you very soon in next video. Bye for now.